morning. Good morning. We are having a little exploration of back to basics today. So have a bolster and have a strap handy, and let's explore our hips. So coming down onto the floor, bringing your legs over the bolster and having the bolster nice and tight up into your pelvis. And we're just going to go into Badakanasana. So feet come together, legs supported by the bolster. And let's just find the breath. And I'm just outside of Calgary. It's just after 5 a.m. So if you're joining me around this time, then take a peek and sort of feel into yourself. How was your sleep? And then if you're tuning in and it's later in the day, like you're in Europe, or you're just tuning in later, so you're picking this up when it's not live, then again, notice what your day's been like. So you're checking in with your breathing. You're checking in with your legs. And then check in with your rib cage and your shoulders. Okay, now we're going to move into butterfly. So what that means is we're going to take our feet onto the floor, and I'm going to leave this bolster here on purpose, because for this practice, I just want to go as far only as the bolster and just explore the smoothness and other qualities of the movement other than range of motion. So I'm going to take the legs into rotation and then back out. Now, you might be someone who taking the legs to the bolster is far too far. So then what I'd love for you to do in this exploration of other qualities other than range of motion is just to notice how your legs are moving, what they feel like, and what your rib cage feels like, and what your breath feels like. And if you followed me for quite some time, you might place your hands in the front of the hips and notice where your hip flexors are, and just check in with your hip flexors and let them be soft. But really, it's just a matter of noticing other quality of movement other than your range. So your smoothness, if there's any ratchetiness to the movement, if there's any grip, and if you're utilizing your jaw or your eyes or your hair, just anywhere other than your legs, if there's anything other than that that's getting in on the movement, just keep it really easy, really smooth. And it's like, for some of you, it might be like getting to know yourself for the first time again. And then as you're doing this, just be really gentle with yourself. Good. And then along the bolster. I've still got the bolster here. And again, you might need a little bit more support. You may even need a little bit of head support if necessary. But again, just check in with yourself. And then let's take the strap. So with the strap now, We're going to bring it around the bottom of the foot and take the leg up. Now you'll notice I'm still keeping my leg on the bolster, the other leg, and that's entirely on purpose. So even though I can straighten my leg all the way on the floor, that's not the purpose. Range of motion is not the purpose today. The purpose is just feeling the quality of your movement and just where else in your body things are getting involved. We know from a evidence-based research perspective that range of motion does not correlate to reduction in pain. Moving better does. And funnily enough, moving better also correlates to a better range of motion. So it's the pathway which we're going. But I digress. Point is, I want to play around with your movement and how it feels. So you'll notice that my knee is slightly bent here, but I have my hip at 90. And it's just allowing myself to be here at 90. You can straighten this leg if you'd like, but again, it's noticing, like, are you gripping the life out of the out of your buckled strap? Are you really gripping in your shoulders? The idea of holding the strap is really just to hold the foot and hold the leg as support, but it's not gripping the bejesus out of it, yeah? So you're just here and super gentle, and just let the work be in the leg that's up to the sky. Let the work be here. There'll be some effort here the longer we stay, and we won't stay long, but the longer that we stay, the more work your leg has to do. And that's kind of the point. But we want that work to be, you want to build in effortlessness to the effort, which might be challenging initially if you're utilizing your jaw and your face and your chest and all of that. So if you notice yourself using other parts of your body to do the work, then see if you can just relax those areas just a little bit, just one little bit. And just that little bit of relaxation, it doesn't have to all go away. Just that little bit of relaxation changes the conversation between your brain and your tissue. Yeah? Okay, lovely. Let's bring it down. And just take a moment before you swap, take a moment and simply feel. Just notice what you did to yourself there. The legs on the bolster. What the heck just happened to our bodies? And then bring that leg back up. The other leg, rather. Good. So we're playing around with quality of movement today and just quality in general. So just notice your breathing. Notice if you're holding the living bejesus out of your strap. And know that if you're doing this practice with me in the early hours of the morning, that maybe you're not moving as in the same quality way as you would if it was later in the day. And that's completely kosher. Just gives you some really good insight about how you move and who you are and all that. So we're just allowing for more and more work in the leg, less in the other parts of your body. So letting the rest of your body just be super easy. And then bring that leg down, and then let your legs both over the bolster, and then just feel what you feel. What the heck just happened? Okay, and then bend the knees. You'll notice I'm keeping the bolster here. Take the ankle onto the knee. So now remember, when you bring that ankle up to the opposite knee, your pelvis is quiet. The leg bone movement in the pelvis is where we're at. And now from here, just going to gently press that leg out away from you. Yeah. Now sometimes when this happens, someone leverages off of the foot against the leg and the hip flexor on the other side really kicks in. Or you might press your foot in of the opposite leg and really do your best to keep it just about this hip. So for me, it's my left. It's about this hip doing the movement. Okay, and let's swap sides. Good. Okay, so keeping this side up, we're going to slowly take a twist. So I'm just going to change my orientation for you. So the ankle is up, and we're just going to take a twist one way and then the other way. Okay? Now again, I've purposely left my bolster here because even though I can take my legs all the way to the floor, today is not a practice about just getting to the floor. The practice is really just about feeling what I can feel as I move. Now you might want to take the bolster out and go a little bit further if you find it annoying that the bolster is there. That's fine. Go for it. Do what you need to do for your body. And for the exploration, now, sometimes what can happen as people move through this is that they may get to a certain point, and it's usually as they move through the line of gravity. So now I'm going with gravity here. And so oftentimes to control that, we ought to be using our abdomen, but oftentimes it's the hip flexors that control the movement if the abdomen isn't kicking in. So notice this as you move. So you can bring your hands to the front of your hips and just notice if your hip flexors want to kick in through any part of the movement. And can you just bring your hands, bring your awareness to your abdomen. And not that it's about contracting it, but it's allowing the abdomen to respond to the change of load. Good. Okay, let's go to the other side. Now, many of my clients are people who really like to push hard. So practice like this where I'm purposefully making the range of motion smaller in order to explore quality can sometimes be highly annoying. And so if that's really agitating, you can do one of two things. You can look at the agitation and the annoyance, or you can just take out the bolster. So it just depends on where you want to go. The key is just to keep noticing the quality of the movement. I find when I get agitated or annoyed with anything, it's a cue to kind of take a peek at something because there's something up for me. It's not to say that what I'm doing or what somebody else is doing is right or wrong. It's more my response to it that I find so curious. And you often discover some more insight into you and your movement and into your recovery process. Okay, finish up with that one and then take the foot back down. Good. And then come back into Badakanasana for a moment. Or straighten your legs out and just notice what the heck just happened there. Lovely. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to take the bolster away. Legs are going to be straight. One knee is coming up to the belly. And opposite hand to the knee. And leg comes across. Shoulder girdle stays on the floor. Super easy. Okay, and bring that back. And other side. Knee comes up, leg comes across. Okay, lovely. Okay, and then legs come straight out. Notice what you feel. Okay, now your leg, right leg, is going to scooch off to the right, and I want you to place your hands on your pelvis. See if you can keep your pelvis as quiet as you can as that leg slides along the floor. And then have the left leg join it. So if you imagine a crescent moon, this is the bottom half of the crescent moon. You can take your opposite arm. So if you've just moved to the right, you'll take the left arm up alongside your ears. And so you're now in what might look like a quasi crescent moon. Making sure your arm is only coming up as far as is comfortable. There's such a strong correlation between your shoulders and your hips. So it's interesting to feel what your range actually is and the quality of that movement. Okay, bring that arm down. Slide the legs back. Now let's bring the left leg over to the left. Right leg to meet it. Pelvis stays quiet the entire time. And then this arm slides up, kind of like you're doing a snow angel. And you might only come up shoulder height. It might be further. You might be coming up all the way to the ear. It just depends. Again, keep the movement easy. Keep the quality of the movement smooth. Watch for any grippy. And then arm comes down and legs come back. Good. All right, so now let's bring the legs back up. Let's just do a little bit of butterfly again. And just notice the smoothness or the other qualities that exist. Just do one more. Good, and then bring the legs to your belly, both of them. And we'll do some circles of the hips. So leg bones moving in the hip socket. And while your arms are involved with this, your jaw and your face and your eyes. It's not uncommon for there to be a relationship with neck and jaw and hip stuff, and even headaches and hip stuff. Okay, other direction. Remember, we were once two little cells in the uterus of our mama. So we really are all connected. All the tissue, all the systems, all of our parts. And so the more we can just become aware of and connect it and reconnect, the better we can ascertain what is contributing to what, what's correlated to what, and then really help our recovery process. All right, lovely. So now you can be here. We're going to finish up here. You can be here with either the bolster under your legs or your knees bent. But just connecting with your breathing. I'm going to roll on over to my side and just come on up. All right, so that's an exploration for you of your hips. You might have a desire to go for a walk or even do something more intense, more vinyasa-like or weight training. Just take and keep this in mind. All right, you have a really, really, really great day. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you on Monday. And over the weekend, we will have a number of weekend reruns. So have a really great practice. And we'll see you after the weekend.